welcome to your upper back refresh. Now this is a great little mini movement flow if you find that you've been carrying baby a lot, breastfeeding, all of the things where you're probably a little bit more closed off within the chest, hands and wrists are kind of finding themselves in more funky, awkward positions, and you just need a little bit of a reset for that upper part of the torso and the upper body. So for this class, there is nothing that is really required. I have a foam roller and a Pilates ball with me. You can have a blanket, a pillow, really nothing fancy. This is just what I have on hand that I find will work, and I'll tell you about some alternatives as we get to those different postures, those different movements. But to start, we're just going to be in a seated position on the ground. So whether that's seated on your shins, if you want to come down into a cross-legged seat, support yourself as you'd like. I have the Pilates ball, so I'm just going to sit right on it and just find a little supported space seated on my shins. You can sit on a pillow, on the couch, whatever you need. But just taking a moment to find some stillness before we get started. Just trying to take a few breaths to settle the body. Just kind of seeing what's showing up. Giving yourself a few breaths to settle, to scan. Quieting the mind and the body so you can kind of truly listen. Where is that tension building? What feels uncomfortable? What's feeling achy? And we're going to go ahead and move through it. So the first thing that we're going to work through are the wrists. So we're just going to find a little bit of opening within that space. So just getting started, find some little rolls back and forth, creating some nice circles here. Might not feel awesome, but we'll work through it. And then go ahead and bring that right hand out in front of you, palm out and away, belly of the forearm up towards the sky. And then taking all of those fingers, drawing it back toward you. And then we're just breathing into the belly of that forearm here, the front of the wrist. If that feels awkward or uncomfortable, you can always just keep the palm like a stop sign out away from you and just draw those fingertips back towards you here. Keeping that shoulder down and away from the ear, softening and lengthening through the neck. One more breath, hold. Nice and easy, we release. Give it a nice slow circle. Twice in one direction, twice in the other. And then go ahead and switch sides. So whether belly of the forearm is up or pressing away, find your variation that feels comfy for you. And just softening through the hand, the wrist, as you let your opposite side help you stretch into this space. One more breath here. And then easy, we release. And then just slow circles, twice in one direction and then the other direction. And then go ahead and spread those fingers nice and wide, and then ball up your fingers, make a fist. And then open and close really big, really tight. So kind of pumping those hands, pumping those wrists for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then bring those palms toward one another, heel of the hand down towards the center of the chest, and then just kind of pushing the fingertips one direction and then the next. Trying to get those heels of the hands toward one another, so if that depth doesn't feel all that comfy, come out of it some. And then go ahead and release nice and easy. Shake those hands out. And then we're going to make our way into a tabletop position. Just for a moment, nothing crazy. And then just to, again, continue that warm up. So as you bring your hands down to the ground, try not to fully let your body sink into that space. So there's a little bit of a press through the palm of the hand to kind of lift and support all the way through the arm, the shoulder, and the shoulder blades on the back of the rib cage. So you're feeling that push all the way through the shoulder blades. So we have some support as we shift our weight forward. Maybe shoulders beyond the fingertips. If it feels nice, maybe we turn those fingertips toward us. Maybe we have one hand doing one way, one hand doing the other. And then maybe we swap. If you're ever finding yourself doing some exercises down onto the ground in your own exercise journey, you're welcome to elevate your hands on blocks or make fists. But the same thing applies. You don't want to just let their weight then just be taken into the hands and the wrists. You want to feel that little bit of a push to support all the way through the shoulders. And then go ahead and bring your hands to center. Now, this might not be the most comfy thing, but we're going to try to bring the backs of the hands onto the ground. Okay, let those fingers curl. That's perfectly fine. You're just going to bend those elbows, keeping the backs of the hands down, and then you're just going to straighten those elbows, eyes of the elbows toward one another. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, press and lift. So we're trying to support our weight through the torso and the lower body. So we're not dumping all of our weight into the back of our hands. That would be crazy beans. But just trying to get some range of motion through the back of the wrists. Inhale lowers you down. Exhale, come back up. And then shift your weight, hips back to heels. Coming off the hands, shake it out. And then find a few more pumps of the fingers of the palms for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amazing. Okay. So now we're going to find some movement within the thoracic spine. So I have Pilates ball. You can use a foam roller. You can stack pillows. All options. You can even take a big bath towel or beach towel, roll that up into like a hot dog shape, like a foam roller. But where that's going to be, and this all depends on the range of motion that you're able to tolerate based on how your core has been feeling, how the base of your pelvis has been feeling. If you've been having some symptoms, some heaviness within the pelvis, this might not be the most optimal height for you. It might be a little bit more helpful for your body if you were a little bit lower to the ground, so you can still get that nice stretch. All that to say, the prop that you're using is going to go to the mid back, so around the line of your bra. Feet are flat, thighs parallel to one another. The hands are going to come behind the back of the head. Elbows are going to fall nice and wide. On the inhale, you're going to drop your chest up and over that support. Hands support the head so that the head can get heavy, the chin can lift up towards the sky. And then exhale, you can use your core to help draw you up. We don't want to shove the ribs down to put pressure into the base of the pelvis, so gently guide yourself up. Again, shorten your range of motion as you need. Inhale, drop the chest back, elbows fall out and open. Feel that opening across the shoulders, little nudge into the mid-back. Exhale, lift it up. Those elbows can also hug in as you lift, that's perfectly fine. But on the inhale, they open back up as you drop down. Exhale, lift up. Now, if you are using just a bath towel and you're a lot closer to the ground, you might not even have to do these repetitions. On the inhale, we open up. It might just feel nice to kind of just drape up and over it, and you just kind of starfish over it, if you will. So you can just hang out there. You do not have to do repetitions if you're close to the ground. Exhale, lift yourself back up. Let's do one more here. Inhale, drop it down and open. Stay for an extra breath. Let those hands support the head, elbows fall wide. Big breath in across the front of the chest. On the exhale, you settle a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale, draw yourself back up. Bring those elbows underneath you. Prop yourself upright. And then we're going to work our way onto the side. So same thing here. You can use, even if you have a yoga bolster, you can use a pillow, the blanket, or the Pilates ball. Now we're going to kind of nudge the one side of the rib cage at a time to get some lateral expansion here. So I'm going to place this ball right underneath the widest part of my rib cage, and I'm slowly going to drape myself over top my bottom arm. So I'm on my right side here. My bottom arm is going to support me. Knees are going to stack. Bringing them closer to your chest is going to lengthen the back. That might feel more comfortable. And then that top arm is just going to reach up and overhead. Breathing into that compression on the right side to expand and open onto the left. Finding that sweet spot so that your hips can relax and let go. Your head feels supported so your shoulders are relaxed. Maybe even finding a nice long active reach through the left fingertips up and overhead. One more breath in. Full breath out. Come on back up. Just offload yourself from that ball and then come all the way down to the ground. We will make our way onto the other side, but let's finish up this side to start. So you can place a pillow underneath that head if you need to bring neutrality to the neck and the spine. Hands stack on top of one another, hip stack, big inhale, reach those left fingertips beyond the right, sweep that left arm up and overhead. And then on the exhale, maybe you cactus that left arm, or maybe it's just a reach, opening across the left side of the chest. Hips stay stacked. Big inhale as you reach that left arm up long and back overhead. Exhale, you close it off. So I like to perform this movement in two parts. So it's inhale to start, exhale, you settle, inhale to start, exhale to settle back to those starting and end points. So inhale, you find that big reach up and over. Exhale, you settle into that expansion through the front of the chest. Inhale back to center. Exhale, settle into that starting position. Let's do two more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, open. Inhale, lift up and overhead. Take advantage of that expansion, that lengthening through the side body. Exhale, you settle back into that starting point. And then one more round. Inhale, big reach up and overhead, expand. One extra breath here in that opening. Maybe that right hand guides that left thigh down towards the ground. Come on back to that starting point. And then we'll make our way over onto the other side. So grab a hold of whatever prop you used for that side body opening. Now it's going to come underneath that left rib cage, that widest part there. And then just draping yourself up and over, catching your head with that left arm. If you want a true pillow, go ahead and grab that. And then with the stack of the hips, that right arm drapes up and overhead. Exhale, settle. Sinking into that ball as best you can, feeling that nudge, opening, expanding through the right side of the rib cage. Inhale. Exhale, release. And that right arm can just drape up and overhead, but if you want to reach towards something above you, to get a little bit more expansion. 3 more rounds of breath. Trying to settle into that compression, using that to help nudge that right side open just a little bit more. Prop yourself up off that support and then come back down onto the ground for your open books. Stacking right on top of left. Pillow for the head for that nice neutral spine. Inhale, reach those right fingertips beyond the left. Big sweep up and overhead. Find that long side body, and then exhale, settle into that rotation. Inhale, big reach up and over. Exhale, close it off. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, open into that open book. Maybe it's a straight arm, maybe it's a cactus. But you want to open through the chest as well, not just that arm flopping back behind you. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, close it off. 2 more, inhale. Exhale, you settle into that rotation. Inhale starts to bring you back. You expand as you move through center. Exhale, close it off. Last one, inhale, big reach up and overhead. Exhale into that opening. 1 breath here at the end. Inhale. Exhale, right arm draws a little closer to the ground. Inhale, big sweep through center. Exhale, close it off back to that starting point. Then go ahead and bring yourself upright, back onto hands and knees, and then settle back into options are, well, puppy pose is where I'd like to move to. But if that feels really big for the chest, options. So true puppy pose or an extended puppy pose is the hands towards the top of your space, a little bit wide, and then hips are staying over top the knees, and then you send your chest down towards the ground as those hips go high towards the sky. Now, depending on how we feel across the chest, this might feel super big and really hard to hold ourselves upright. So what we can do is just drop the forearms down to the ground and push down through those forearms to send those hips up and back in space. So we're still getting a little bit of mobility through the shoulders, the upper back, maybe even into the back and the hips. But trying to find a heaviness across the chest, upper back, head, neck. With every inhale, we're bringing that breath into that space between the shoulder blades, the base of the neck. One more breath here. Bring those big toes together to touch. Continue to walk the hands backwards so you find yourself into a child's pose. Forearms can rest heavy down. They do not have to be extended long out in front of you. Just settle into this space. If you have those blankets, those pillows, you can prop them underneath your hips if you feel a little bit further away from the ground. Take one more breath to settle here. And then keeping those hips anchored down towards the ground, start to walk the hands over towards the right side, stacking left on top of right, or really just focusing on the reach of that left hand or how far that left hand is reaching. And then use that connection of left palm down to press your hips back in space, kind of sweeping that left hip back behind you so that that left butt bone can continue to reach towards that left heel. Big breath into that left rib cage. Exhale, settle down. Little tuck of that tailbone to find a little extra length into the low back. Big inhale. Full exhale. One more breath. Inhale. Breathe into that space underneath the left armpit. Back corner of the rib cage. Exhale, settle. Stay low to the ground if you can. Start to walk the hands back through center and then over toward the left side. So left hand walks over, right hand stacks. We're really thinking of those fingertips reaching over and away from you as much as you can, and then gentle press through the palms to pull or sweep that right hip back in space. To lengthen through that right side body as best we can. Big inhale. Full exhale. 2 more breaths, breathing into that right rib cage. Full breath out. 1 more breath in. Full breath out. Walk those hands back to center. And then slowly make your way back upright, sitting hips to heels. Rest the palms of your hands onto your shins. Bring those thighs together to touch so you can support your space from the bottom up. And just as we did in the beginning of class, take a few moments here to find a bit of stillness, a moment to be with your body, with your breath. And in that stillness, in that quiet, what is showing up now within the body? How did that little bit of movement feel? Were some sensations a little intense? Did that feel good? Did that feel like it moved the energy around where it was stuck? Did it feel effortful? Did it bring ease? Did it give you more information? Every little bit of movement, no matter how short or long, gives you information about, it gives you the opportunity to learn a little bit more about your body, how your body's showing up, what it needs a little bit more of, what it might need a little bit more support from. And in my eyes, that is all great stuff. If anything showed up for you in this class, anything that brings up a little bit more questions, maybe even concerns about what's showing up in your body, one, reach out to your pelvic floor physical therapist, and so that you can create a treatment plan that works best for you and your body and where you're at in your healing journey. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please feel to like or leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't, but I hope to see y'all again soon in the next class, so stay tuned.